Welcome to the MBA50 Business School interview series. I'm with Janet Schroeder, a second-year student at the Darden School of Business. Janet, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Could we start just with a little bit of your background?
Sure.
Prior to Darden?
So I was raised in Chicago. I went to a small liberal arts school up in Middlebury, Vermont, Middlebury College, and then I spent 3 years between my undergrad experience and coming to Darden in education. So pretty non-traditional. I was a Mandarin Chinese teacher, and I did international admissions and recruiting for the boarding school I was working at.
Right, so the Chinese professor that decided they needed to go back to business school, but
Exactly.
Why the choice to do the MBA?
Sure. I really thought that Chinese was a great background in terms of a skill set. Obviously, given GDP growth in China and just incredible opportunity over there, it's a place that a lot of folks are interested in the business world. But getting an MBA really was going to allow me to pivot into a business sense. So as a liberal arts major, I didn't really study anything business related. That was very faux pas in a liberal arts setting. So I knew an MBA was really going to give me the framework and the understanding of how to apply my Chinese language and then the business sense to really work in an international business setting, hopefully sometime down the road in my career. Case method was very, very important to me, and Darden and Harvard are the only two American business schools that have 100% case method. So for me, that was really important. And then within the case method, I wanted a small school. I wanted one that I felt like I would really know my classmates on graduation day. When we cross the stage on Sunday, I'm going to know everybody that crosses the stage with me. And so that was really important. And so Darden, in those two ways, really just popped right to the top of my list in terms of where I wanted to be.
It's a big decision to go to business school.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a moment when you said, what have I done?
Yes. I mean, I think coming to business school was the best decision I have ever made. But arriving at Darden on the first day, I was definitely a little bit nervous. I came in as a non-traditional student and one that didn't even know how to use Excel. So I came in really from square one. So it was a little bit intimidating at the beginning, but knowing that I'd really come into a community that was going to support me throughout my time here and really help me over the obstacles through the beginning of my educational experience in terms of just getting up to speed with my classmates. I knew that I had made the right choice because people would always be there for me in terms of helping me get to that next level.
With your non-traditional background as a Chinese professor,
sure.
Do you have any admissions advice perhaps to people that they themselves think might not have a traditional background?
Absolutely. I think a lot of business schools today are realizing that there's a lot of value to be had in not having a room full of just bankers and consultants and traditional business people. And Darden is especially for Darden, that's especially true because we are a case method study classroom. So it's really about the students teaching the students in our classrooms here. So for non-traditional students, I would say just think about what you want to do and how an MBA will help you get there. For me, I knew that there were a lot of skills that came out of my education that I wanted to use, but just in a different setting. I knew finance was of interest to me, so it was really getting that MBA that would help me get there. So just think about how are my skills now, even if it's in a Chinese classroom or wherever you may be, how is it applicable to the skills that I want to use in a future career in whatever field you're interested in. And if you can tell that story, I think that's the golden ticket.
The recent class, the 36% women, initiatives that the school has done to encourage more women to take a look at business?
I think Dean Bruner is great in his initiative, really, in terms of encouraging women to look at business school. So we had a reception at his home for the women's club here at Darden about 2 weeks ago. And at the end of it, he did a really nice toast, really sending the second years out into the working world and welcoming the first years as the new second year leaders. But he really said, just go out and tell the Darden story and really reach out to female classmates or friends or coworkers and really encourage them to think about business school. I think sometimes women just don't even think about it as a career path or as an education path because you do it a little bit later in your career, so it can conflict with other personal life decisions in terms of career trajectory. But Dean Bruner has been very key in terms of encouraging us to reach out to people around us, people in our networks, just to encourage the idea of business school for those who wouldn't think about it otherwise.
He's also a dean who's gone on the record encouraging people to think about where they could then do their best work.
Sure.
So what's in store for you?
Sure. So I will be transitioning out of education into banking. So a pretty drastic switch, but I think that just shows the power of the Darden MBA, that you can really come in with any skill set and leave and do anything that you want because of the training that you receive here in terms of academics. So I'll be going into the healthcare space within commercial banking up in Washington, D.C.
Enjoy the upcoming graduation, a very special moment.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Wonderful.
For this interview.
Thank you.